I, Heather Lynn Price, the sole leaser at 1469 Green Street, apartment C2, and whose name is in all of the bills, am hereby testifying and do swear under the threat of penalty and perjury that on August 17, 2015, the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office did violate my Fourth Amendment rights to be free from illegal searches and seizures. I was met at my door with officers from the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office, determined to search and seize items in my apartment without warrant.
During a first-tier police-citizen encounter, an officer may approach citizens, ask for identification, and freely question the citizen without any basis or belief that the citizen is involved in any criminal activity. As long as the officer does not detain the citizen or create the impression that the citizen may not leave, so long as a reasonable person would feel free to disregard the police and go about such person's business, the encounter is consensual and no reasonable suspicion is required.
I was coerced and intimidated into giving consent to search my apartment with claimed acquiescence of a warrant within 2 hours.
A suspect's consent to search is invalid where deceit is used to obtain it, such as when an officer represents the suspect that he or she has authority to search when actually the officer does not. Thus, if an officer represents that a search warrant will be secured should consent be refused, and the officer does not have probable cause for a search warrant, the accused's consent is invalid and coercion will be implied.
I was illegally detained without suspicion of committing any crime.
Where there is no significant lapse of time between an unlawful detention and a consent to a search, no intervening circumstances dissipated the effect of the unlawful detention, and the officer's conduct had no arguable legal basis, any evidence seized must be suppressed.
There were around 10 officers searching throughout my apartment, yet only supplemental reports from 4 officers.
On August 17th of 2015, Lieutenant Robert Pachotti did fabricate evidence concerning the illegal arrest of Heather Price and Alan Watson. A Freedom of Information Act request submitted to the Valdosta Police Department revealed nothing concerning Alan Watson and narcotics, nor was there ever an officer from the Valdosta Police Department that witnessed any of the felonies made up by Pachotti. Here we see the foreman explain that the holdout, the juror, refused to listen to the evidence and acknowledge the facts displayed on the videotape because he was bothered by Pachotti's denial that he was a police officer and believed that all cops were liars. In Baker versus Pachotti, we see that there was a warrantless search without consent and suspected planted evidence by the plaintiff seeking damages. In Lawson versus Pachotti, we see no search warrant and the plaintiff is seeking damages as his constitutional rights were violated in the illegal search. Lowndes County Sheriff's Office Officer John Mulvaney here is being sued for civil rights violations, including excessive force and false arrest. Messenger's wife joins as a plaintiff claiming damages as well. And let it be known that Lowndes County Sheriff's Office Officer Kenneth Busby is being sued for civil rights violations by Harris. Finally, Lowndes County Sheriff's Office Officer Scott Goodwin was arrested. Officials say Scott Goodwin was arrested for battery and having a weapon on school property. Additional charges for public drunkenness and reckless conduct. Scott Goodwin was the officer involved with Heather Price's illegal detention and ultimate arrest. By blocking her re-entry into her apartment, he effectively blocked her mobilization, which is constituting an arrest. Scott Goodwin did not have probable cause for the arrest of Heather Price.
After the illegal consent, multiple items were taken as evidence, and some are missing from my apartment.
Meteorites were taken as suspected narcotics.
Like a $450 benchmade knife, and capsules for supplements.
Even though 25 items of evidence were tested for fingerprints, none of them were the defendants.
Infowars.com was claimed to have been a drug-dealing website and was seemingly used as justification for this illegal intrusion, as after the writ of habeas corpus was filed, there were multiple conflicting statements of an Infowars sticker that was supposed to be on the rear window of my fiancé's father's vehicle. Yet there was never an Infowars sticker on the rear window. I did not claim possession of the firearm that was claimed to have been found in the apartment through fear of an end to my career and was intimidated into signing a statement, although nothing was specifically claimed to be in anyone's possession in my statement. No narcotics were shown to me, nor field tested in front of me that were claimed to have been found in my apartment.
I, Bobby Watson, for the record, do swearing under threat of penalty and perjury that all statements made herein on this day, March the 30th, 2016, are true to the best of my knowledge. Detective Pachotti called on August the 17th of 2015, late that evening, to state that Alan Watson, my son, had been arrested with a firearm in the car. He asked if I had a 9mm handgun, and I said I do. He asked if my gun was missing, and I stated I do not know. I looked for the gun and told him that it was not where I normally leave it. He asked if I wanted to report the gun stolen, and I said no, as I could not remember if I had left the gun in the car. It seems Pachotti was beset on charging my son with my firearm, as I was not given an opportunity to identify and claim my firearm. I was never told that information he was receiving from me was going to be used against my son, as it is so clearly evident now.
The very first sentence in Pachotti's statement is a lie. A Freedom of Information Act request to the Valdosta Police Department revealed that there are no records pertaining to Alan Watson and narcotics, nor was there any ongoing investigation. To completely circumvent the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution, Pachotti and his subordinates used color of law to knowingly harass and construct a malicious prosecution. By Lieutenant Pachotti claiming that I made certain quotes in an interrogation room, he is openly admitting to a corrupt policy at the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office that allows for suspects to be interrogated within a room that has recording devices yet are not being used. There are no video nor audio recordings on any of the many county vehicles that were being used for this illegal arrest. I spent almost 5 months in the Lowndes County Jail over this malicious prosecution. I've been harassed by the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department on multiple occasions with the protocol of bypassing the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Kenny Busby is claiming that he provided a copy of the warning citation, yet there is no copy of a warning citation. When the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office issues a warning citation, it is issued directly to the driver. As you can see from the 2010 incident of harassment and illegal activity from the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office, I physically have this copy as evidence. The only copy has been scanned into this report. Where is the citation? Busby is full of lies. He claims that this ends his involvement in the case, yet he was inside of Heather Price's apartment along with many others who are not listed in this case. In 2010, the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office did harass me with malicious intent using the same protocol as in 2015. Busby, Mulvaney, Goodwin, and Pachote are involved in both instances. In both cases, the tactics used to bypass the 4th and 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution are stalk the victim, follow the victim in an unmarked vehicle with no audio nor video recordings, then claim there was a traffic infraction, specifically, quote, failure to maintain lane, end quote, was used twice. After the victim stops, the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office officer will ask for consent to search almost immediately without any cause, and then call for a dog. The dogs are usually on standby to try to circumvent another established rule. The United States Supreme Court has ruled that it is unconstitutional for officers to have a suspect wait for a prolonged period of time for a dog to arrive involving traffic infractions. Not to mention, there is no reason to search my vehicle, and it is completely apparent that the intent of the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office officers is to get inside of the victim's vehicle, even going as far as getting inside of the residence or place of business that the victim came from. In 2010, I was stalked and followed from my place of employment, which at the time was a primarily black patronage. I was going to a Publix grocery store to get juice for the bar when I was pulled over by an unmarked car from the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office for the cliche, quote, failure to maintain lane, end quote. And I was asked immediately for consent to search. I refused. The dog was called. In 2015, just as in 2010, there were 0 narcotics found in the vehicles. But not only that, the dogs did not do any real hitting on the vehicles. Busby claims to justify this illegal search by claiming there was marijuana residue, which, quote, wasn't of evidentiary value, end quote. And according to studies, the effectiveness of canine searches are a failure. Only 27% in this study of canine searches resulted in a positive hit, when even 90% of the United States currency contains cocaine residue. With these combined factors that are surrounding the canine searches, it becomes apparent that it is completely illegal and ineffective as a measure to be used against United States citizens. Please like, subscribe, and share to help expose this corruption that's going on in Lowndes County, Georgia. Thank you.